Now we're all here. Welcome back to the lifeboat. And tide's in. She's riding high, but it's on its way out. We just had a new moon, so the tides are the spring tides at the moment. And it's that time of year for a detox. And I was going to explain to you what I've been doing for the last 10 years when I have these problems, because the last couple of weeks I've been suffering with a lot of brain fog and fatigue, and I found in the past certain remedies which help with this, so I thought I'd share them with you. And I've been looking back at some of my videos, and I noticed that my verbal dexterity has been lacking, and diction and the way I enunciate the words is somewhat not very good at all. So I thought, right, I need to improve that, and I need to clear my cloudy head of the fog. So one of the ways I do this is every year I do a detox, and I started doing this, like say, 10 years ago, and I use something that by the name of sodium thiosulphate. I can never say it. Thiosulphate. Sodium thiosulphate. That's hard enough to say without having brain fog. So when you do have it, that's even worse. So what is it? Well, it's the sort of stuff they use for cleaning aquariums and stuff like that, and it stinks to high heaven, and it tastes just as bad. I also use vitamin C, which is ascorbic acid. Basically, I know there'll be people arguing ascorbic acid's not vitamin C, but to be honest with you, it works bioidentically in the body, so you know, it doesn't really matter. You're looking for the effect of it, not exactly where you get it from. I mean, you can get vitamin C from the oranges and the rose hips and all these wonderful places. You can get it naturally, but we're looking for a detox effect, so this stuff will do the job just as well. And I've noticed the brain fog I've been dealing with has been so cloudy that I'm struggling to enunciate the words. I'm struggling to say them in a way that the verbal dexterity just isn't there the way I'd like it to be. And it was only looking back through the videos I noticed how bad it was. So here we go. So what am I going to do? I'm going to start just running you through how to use the vitamin C, which is this. Now, this particular bag I've had for a long time. I got it from a company called Ancient Purity. They're probably still going. I hope they are. They're very good to me back in the day. And this was the company that I got the last bags you see on previous videos from as well. I had a question for that. But vitamin C, it's ascorbic acid, I should say. It's very tart. It's like, how can I put it? It's like biting into a lemon, I suppose. Now, all you have to do is, you don't need a lot, a tiny bit. And what I would do is I'd just mix that with a bit of water. A bit of water? I should say a drop of water, really, shouldn't I? That's what I mean, brain fog. Alright, so I've got some reverse osmosis water here, but it doesn't matter when you're doing a detox, because the vitamin C or the sodium sulphate will actually none avoid any nasties in the water. So that's just a tiny little bit of vitamin C there, and that, stir that round, let it dissolve in the water. And what I would do for a detox with the ascorbic acid on its own, I would just put a tiny tip, like a spatula full, into a tiny bit of water. Do that every half hour until you have a bowel movement. And once you have a bowel movement, you've topped your body up with vitamin C, then you can scale back and just have a couple of bits of vitamin C a day. As you can see by the way I'm talking, I'm struggling with brain fog a lot, so I need to do a detox quite badly. So I will stir that up, and what you do is you just chug it down, and it's very, very sharp. It is like biting into a lemon, but you do that one after the other every half hour until you feel your stomach rumbling, and next thing you know, you need the loo quite badly, and then you know you've had the desired effect. But that's just the vitamin C on its own. But there's a much better detox which I've been doing, and it's using this stuff, the sodium thiosulphate. Now I'm going to get this out. Like I said, they use this for cleaning out aquariums. And can't get a spoonful out of it. And as you can see, there it is. Now it's kind of granular, like almost like big bits of salt. Smells disgusting. It is disgusting, I'll pre-warn you of that. So what I would do with that is I would put that in a glass, and I would Put a tiny bit of sorbic acid in that, because that's going to get into your liver, and you want the vitamin C there, because if you release any nasties out of your liver when you're taking it, you want them to be taken out of the colon, out of the wall of your gut. And the reason I use the sodium thiosulphate, I'm going to put some water in with that now so it can start dissolving. And if you do this, you will notice the odour is quite strong. It's ditch water, to be honest. I'm not joking, it is a disgusting thing to do, but the results are amazing. You'll be able to see more clearly, you'll see life come back into your gut. And the reason that is because of something we call biofilm. Now, I've brought one of these hopefully to show you. Now we have a gut, and you have the wall of your gut like this, and I'm not great at drawing, so bear with me. And what happens is, on the side of the walls of the gut, you have these little things called villi, and these are the things that absorb the nutrients out of the food you consume as it goes through. So you have these little things. Now what happens is because of the nature of our food supply in the Western world now, and what's coming out of the skies behind the planes and all that, we develop in the lining of our gut this biofilm, and what it does is it gets into this, in between the villi, and it clogs it all up so that our food passes through and we don't absorb the nutrients from our food we're eating. So it doesn't matter how good the minerals you're taking in, you're not absorbing them into the body. So you can spend as much as you like on vitamins and minerals and not absorb them because you haven't got a clean gut. And this biofilm, it lines the gut and it prevents you from absorbing, but it also prevents the digestion process. So what the sulfate would do is it would lift that out of the villi, and you will be able to pass it through and start with a nice clean wall. And in some places what will happen, because of the chemicals we have behind the tractors in our fields and all that, anything that ends in a side, what that does is it renders the gut barren. And what we have is we have these things being scrubbed out, so you end up with a smooth gut wall, and the villi have been sort of like shaven down where they've been starved by the biofilm. So you need to reintroduce the foods to help. They will grow back. That's the brilliance about your gut. It does grow back. But once you consume these foods in the bread and all that with these pesticides in, it sort of like raises them so you don't have any villi on the wall of your gut. And all of a sudden, sometimes it can wear the gut of the wall so thin you can develop holes. Then some of the food you eat, the particles might actually make it into your body. Your body then sees that as an invader, and it will create how can I put it, an immune response to that food, and you become allergic to a certain food because it's gone through the wall of your gut and your body's reacted seeing it as an enemy, and it's gone to attack it. So when you eat that food again, it recognises it and it's like, we've got to do something about this, we're going to go and do it. So that's the idea of the gut. So this will come right back. The idea of this is to clean the gut right out. But after doing so, once you have cleaned out the gut, you need to make sure you replace it with some really good food. Now you need to be taking in the minerals and minerals, because this stuff rips everything out of the body. It's worse than alcohol. It will take everything that's in your gut out. So you need to put some real fermented foods back in there. You need to replace the gut flora in any way you can to help. Now what will this would do, it'll help with the brain fog, it will help with digestion, because I've noticed, spotted it in the mirror the other week, I have developed inflammation of the gut yet again, and that's where you often see it, especially with males. They have this pronounced belly and you think they're really fat, and what it is, if you actually go up to them and feel their muscle lining, they've only probably got about an inch or two of belly fat in front of the muscle lining, but the size of their belly is created from inflammation of the gut itself inside. And by doing this you will reduce that right back down. But it's really, I can't stress how important, if you do this, if you're crazy enough like me to do this, you really must eat fermented foods afterwards. Now when I did this 10 years ago, I did it for about 3 weeks solid, I think, twice a day to really get. I don't need to do that anymore because I did it back then, and I do this once a year. I only have to do this for 3 days now, and it has the same effect. And I feel, once I feel the difference, I stop. So this stuff doesn't cost much neither. I mean, I bought this about 10 years ago now, and this cost me, I think, a £5. I mean, the company doesn't exist anymore. It's Oliver Brown. I think they're gone now. That's so long ago. And yeah, so mixing the two together, the vitamin C will protect your liver, because obviously when you detox all the biofilm and get it out, you want it well out your system, and good riddance. Because within that biofilm, within it's like a goo that clings to the wall of these villi, and that they hold it in place. And as your digestion works, it's almost you're eating food, but the tips of the villi are the only thing that taking the nutrition out of it. And sadly, it's there's loads of people who end up, they're starving themselves fat because their body is not absorbing the nutrients, and their body's doing the best they can with the food they're putting in, and the only thing it can do is chuck it into the fat cells to deal with it at a later date. And that's why you see a lot of really overweight people, and they've basically starved themselves fat because they're not eating the food, or they haven't got the they haven't got the body to absorb the food they are eating, because it's been compromised with the Western way we farm these days. So you're not going to avoid it. If you think you can live in the Western world and avoid all these chemicals, you're not going to be able to do it. So don't try, is my advice. The idea is to take steps towards life, and try not to take more steps towards death than you do life. So like they say, I've recognised my brain fog. I've recognised just how much I'm struggling the last couple of weeks with fatigue and other stuff. I haven't even been able to make any videos, I've been so fatigued. So I thought, right, I know what to do. I've been here before. I need to do a detox. And I thought, I know what to do. I'll film it and explain to the good people on my channel exactly what I'm doing and why. So let's show you. So once you stir this in, and as I'm letting that and I'm not joking when I say this is like drinking ditch water, it really is disgusting. But the benefits, it's well worth doing. I brought with me 6-pointed quartz crystal. For those of you who know, love the crystals. Just to give me some moral support here, because it's a long time. Yeah, and it does. It smells like you've just cleaned out an aquarium. You know, it's terrible, but there you go. But it's worth doing. So what I do is I will stir that in there, and as soon as that's all dissolved, which I think it is now, so there's a little bit of vitamin C in there, lots of sodium thiosulphate. I said it. Whoop, put that down there for that. And what you've got to do is you've got to chug it down. Don't let it stay on your taste buds too long, because you might retch and throw up. And what I do, I drink that first, then I'll explain also some of the effects it has. Damn, that's disgusting. That is like ditch water. Ah, damn. I remember every year I do it, I have the same, it is disgusting. But there you go. It's well worth doing. Now what's going to happen is that is now going to get inside my stomach in there and start clearing out the walls, and it will pass it through. Now if you decide to do this, I will warn you that the first time you do it, it doesn't affect me like it used to. But the first time, your bowels will empty. So if you feel like you need to pass the wind, I suggest you go to the lavatory, because you might get it wrong. It's that explosive. It literally rips all of the goo that's stuck to the side of the walls of your intestines and will pass it through. But the other reason I like to do this, obviously, because I spoke to it in previous videos with the chemtrails, and you have the nanotechnology that's raining down upon us, and it's a good thing to get that out. And that also, within the biofilm, it gives a place for it to grow. So it's not just within the vessels within the body, it's actually within the goo as well. And within our gut system, if you're still lucky enough to have your appendix, that's also a vital part for your immune system. Now with the appendix, it creates the B cell. So if you get sick or your body spots something that's bad for you, the appendix will create a B cell, which would then go and call for a T cell. And your T cell, the T stands for thyroid, from your thyroid gland. And when you go and have blood tests, you will get, they would say you got your T1, T2, T3. Well, the T1, the number on that is molecules of iodine, which are attached to the thyroid cells. So your T cell will have a number of iodines attached to them, and that number is what they count when they give you a T cell count. And so you need, the gut is telling your thyroid, we need cells because we've got something we need to fight, and therefore the whole symbiotic relationship with the two organs carries on. Now, if you're like me and you lost your appendix, then you have to do that job for it. In other words, what happens is, where that would normally call for the T cell account, you now need to take that job when you feel ill to say, all right, I need to be doing something here, like taking vitamin C, because my appendix isn't there to call for the T cell. And it always struck me as kind of strange when people have blood tests that they don't take this into account within the system we know as the, I'm not going to name them, but that taste of that's worn off now a bit, thank goodness. But it's well worth doing. It's well worth doing. But like I said, I wanted to share this magical stuff, even though it's horrible and disgusting. If you read up on this, they actually have used this in prevention of the growth of tumours. And if you've suddenly been, you got the turbos, as they call, you suddenly find yourself with a diagnosis where the establishment cannot help you anymore because they say you're at stage 4. Well, guess what? Not all is lost. This will sort you out. This will sort you out. This will help you stay on the earth a bit longer. Now, it might not, you're not allowed to use that word cure in association with this stuff, so I won't, but it will allow you to stay here with your family a lot longer than you would have done if you did nothing. So, like I said, clean your guts out, get the probiotics back in the gut, eat fermented foods, as in yogurts and anything that's fermented with the vegetables. You can pick and you can put them in a jar and seal them in and let them ferment before you eat them the next day. That's fantastic as well. So this has been my way of doing this to deal with the brain fog and the fatigue. There are many other ways. Like I said, I demonstrated the bentonite clay for taking out toxins, but that's not always the reason you're suffering with fatigue. The grains we eat from the fields aren't that, they're not the same as there was 100 years ago, and along with all the pesticides and stuff like that they spray on them, so the bugs don't eat them. But the clue's in the word side. If it's a pesticide, it's killing the bugs, and the reason it's killing the bugs, how it actually works is the chemical actually explodes the stomach of the bug. So if you eat enough of that chemical that they've used to kill the bugs, it's obviously going to have the same effect in you, only a much smaller scale, because it's designed for the stomach of a bug. So you can actually, by consuming too much of these pesticides, you can actually blow out the walls of your gut and make tiny holes where these particles can pass into your cavity, and then your body will see them and come out with an immune response. It can be nasty stuff. So that's my video on sodium thiosulphate. Don't forget all this stuff. If you want to know more about vitamin C, like I said, it's amazing stuff. You can take it intravenously as well. I think it's time you have to teach yourself this stuff now, because you're not going to make an appointment with a certain organisation. They haven't been taught how to make you well again. They're disease specialists, so they will manage your disease until you depart. That's their job, it's their wheelhouse, and they are very good at it, and I would never take that away from them. But if you're looking for health, I'm afraid you've got to get off your butt and do your own investigations. So that's where we are. But it's been fun. I hope you've enjoyed this video. There's more to come, and I'm going to wish you the most wonderful health and a great 2024. See you in the next one.